Ladies, gentlemen, folks beyond the binary, grab your husband, wife, partner, mistress, a first edition copy of Making Marriage Work for Dummies, and gather around your radio. It's time for this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. Your husband's a doof, and your Malcolm in the Middle son pisses on the toilet seat. This isn't how you wanted life to go. What can you do? The only solution is, say it with me, folks, F that Frenchman! This week on the Erotic Thriller Club, Unfaithful. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's meeting of the Erotic Thriller Club. As always, Garrett Callender and Kit Ryan here.
And this is where we answer the genre's three most important questions. Was I aroused? Was I thrilled? And would I ruin my life for that Frenchman?
Oh, Kit, we've dipped our toe in the Adrian Lyne well for the final time? Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road.
That's sad.
No, I mean, there's technically two more, but this is really that we have Indecent Proposal and Lolita, but are those... They're still erotic. There's erotic movies to watch, but this is the last of the true thrills.
So
Sad?
Sad. Yeah.
Sad.
There'll never be another like it, you know?
He's still alive. I mean,
you think he's still out? He's still gonna make some more? In which case it's not the final one? In which case we can hold out hope?
Deep Water wasn't that long ago. I feel like, especially with stuff going straight to streaming, maybe he wants to do another one. I don't care if he makes 5 more and they go to Hulu. Give me more, Adrian. But be kind to your actors.
Please.
So this movie is a little confusing when you look at the score on Rotten Tomatoes versus the accolades.
I did not look at that, so please do tell.
So 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. So this movie, very split on how people feel about it. However, no one was really split on Diane Lane. She was nominated for every possible award she could have been nominated for this film.
You know what? I think she well deserved it. That scene on the train alone is worth an Academy Award. For sure.
That's why I wanted to preface she was nominated for things before we start.
Okay.
Because the start of this movie is stupid.
Yeah.
And definitely plays into that 50%. But her performance does get better, enough so that she was nominated for things.
Yeah, you know what? Like her character, Diane Lane, the actor, really blossoms when she starts fucking a Frenchman.
See, I think it's funny that Richard Gere took this part, because this is kind of the same thing as Antonio Banderas in Baby Girl, where it's just like, you are not prepared. Like, because in your mind, you're like, why would you cheat on Richard Gere? Richard Gere's a handsome fella. Like, he was the
handsomest fella.
He was the king of these kind of movies for a while. You know, just being the handsome guy that you want to bone.
Absolutely. He is I can't stop thinking about him in Pretty Woman, right? Like, he is the goal. He is Endgame. and instead we're throwing Richard Gere to the side for some French book dealer?
Very quickly, though, you're like, oh,
Oh.
I don't want to fuck him.
Garrett, you don't want to have sex with Richard Gere.
Not this version. I mean, literally, the moment we meet him, she's like, your shirt's on backwards. And he's like, oh. And then he's complaining about the stock market, and Dewey
That's
from Malcolm in
true.
the Middle's doing armpit farts.
Yeah, they have a cute little boring life, and he's whining about the stock market, even though they're clearly already very wealthy. And yeah, he seems like kind of obnoxious. I can see that to live with.
Do you understand his job? I love this. My favorite thing about all of our erotic thrillers is what's the man's job?
I couldn't figure out what her deal was. I think he does armored trucks.
Are you
Is that
serious?
what
Is
it
that
is?
what that was?
Is that not what you got from it? What did you think he did?
I don't know. They made it seem like he was important, but then when we see him, he's just like in an auto shop, but everybody's like wearing suits, but he's just in like a regular garage, something with vehicles.
The guy he fires, he says, that I heard you were getting talked to by Brinks. And then
Mm.
there was something about a fleet of trucks, and then so yes, he was like holding one at his office, like a little tiny truck, and it looked kind of maybe like it could be an armored truck. So yeah, I think he does the trucks that pick up the money from the banks.
I think that was actually a candid conversation that wasn't meant to be in the movie, of that actor being like, man, for you to play such an unfuckable character in a movie, they really must have backed the Brinks truck up to your
Eh,
house.
yes.
I loved the first part of this movie. All of my notes are just like, ooh, Gear's shirt's on on inside out. Gross. Better fuck a Frenchman. Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle's armpit farting. Better fuck a Frenchman. He pissed on the toilet seat. Fuck that Frenchman.
Get the Frenchman. Get the Frenchman. Zut alors. Let's go fuck a Frenchman. Yeah, the thing is, the opening shots of this movie are of sad piano music and then wind. And that was
Wind.
a weird choice.
Well, the first line of the entire film, which is going to get me to our favorite scene, is it's pretty windy out. Literally the first line of the film. And yeah, you get the sad piano music, you got a lonely boat floating in the water,
A
and then
bike falls over.
it is that is the movie summed up. It I love this might be my favorite opening title. The word faithful, then then it all
Oh,
turns red.
so dramatic.
Oh, so it comes up, you're like, I think I'm in the wrong movie. Oh, I mean, I am here. Oh shit, red. It's
Oh,
not gonna be good.
I don't know how to feel about anything anymore.
Oh man, they're just getting ready. You're seeing that she's just a mom living mom life with a doofy
Hmm.
husband, kids
Hmm.
armpit farting. Gear takes the kid to school and then looks at her through the window and then gives her an armpit fart. And I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
God, girl. Fuck
Hmm.
that Frenchman. Get that baguette, baby.
Put that baguette in your croissant.
The- Adrian Lyne is the reason we have the phrase meat and fire district on
Oh,
this
you're right.
podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
He
This is
gives
not
us
the meat and fire district this time, though. Frenchman does not live in the meat and fire district.
he lives in the hurricane district of New York City.
It is so windy that she is being assaulted by balloon zebras and packing peanuts and and newspapers, and it's like, I guess this is a metaphor, but I don't know for what. But that woman just got nailed in the face by a balloon zebra.
I wish I could. now have a new answer. For years, like, my answer to if you could be in any movie scene there when they shot it, what would it be? And
Mhm.
forever, I was like, the parade scene for Ferris Bueller's Day Off just seemed
100%.
like a great day of
Absolutely.
being on a movie set.
Mhm.
I wish I could have been there for the wind scene in Unfaithful. New answer, hands down. I wish I could have thrown the zebra at her. I wish I could. Kit, this version of New York is such a fairy tale that she is being, like you said, assaulted by wind and garbage. But what makes it
But
fairy tale? The cleanest trash,
oh,
the
100%. Even
sparkling white, untarnished garbage.
even the newspapers that are hitting her are definitely fresh, hot off the presses, brand new newspapers. The packing peanuts, those are fresh right out of the box. That zebra, he was a good zebra. He was clean. There was nothing that hits her that looks in any way uncouth or unclean.
Oh yeah, the PA had just opened him out of his plastic packaging, inflated
Mhm.
him, and tossed him at
Release.
Diane Lane's head. Like, Kit, is she is walking down the street. I swear to God, I wish the wind has to be 100 miles an hour. She
Oh
is
yeah.
blowing in circles as the wind undresses her. And
Mhm.
her reaction, I am not joking, folks. Watch this. Open it up. It's in the first like 5 minutes of this movie. She is going, whoa, 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 whoa.
Can't keep her skirt from riding up, can't keep her, her trash bag full of party supplies from blowing away, I guess is what it was.
Kit,
Like,
the
uh-huh.
funniest thing, like a scene later, and we'll get back to this, but I just need to bring this up now, is when she does end up at home after everything that happens that we'll discuss in a second, her son, Dewey
Mhm.
from Malcolm in the Middle, describes the scene that we just talked about to Richard Gere
Mhm.
and describes it exactly as it happens. He goes, Mom got stuck in a windstorm. And she was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he's spinning in circles. I'm like, that's so accurate.
He wasn't there, but somehow he knows exactly what it looked like.
Same performance. Yet he was snubbed for an Oscar that year.
So sad. Really,
All right,
truly a great loss.
let's get back to Hurricane Sandy over here.
Hurricane Frenchman is what comes up next because we have our meet cute of you slam into a Frenchman in the middle of the street because of the wind brought you together. And oh, he's carrying all these heavy leather bound books. And now the books go flying and her party stuff goes flying and they're each picking up each other's stuff. Zutalor. Uh and they're all she falls, she scrapes her knees and oh well, why don't you come on in and you can clean up, my apartment just happens to be right here.
She's so discombobulated. Like this whole time she's trying to hail a taxi. They smash parts,
Mhm.
and spill all their goods. She's trying to help pick up his stuff, but like still trying to hail a taxi like she's got a concussion and forgot what just happened. like,
Well, she
like,
is about to be late for a train as
okay,
well,
you're right. You're right. Though,
because she has to catch the train back into the burbs, which I guess is like an hour in between trains or something. I don't know.
so the wind blew them wildly and literally mashed their parts together. Like they hit.
Won't be the last time.
Won't be the last. Do you consider, like, if you saw footage of your significant other
Mhm.
and that sort of wind made them mash parts with somebody that attractive in public to where they very innocently fell on top of each other,
Mhm.
that seems like God's will. That's an act of God.
Mm.
I think that, like, that's kind of like in insurance, that would be like an act of God thing. And I
Mm.
think that is covered.
Under
in
the
your under
clause
your
of
marriage license.
You know what? I'm not married. I will be soon. And when I look at the marriage license
Fine
thing as
print.
I'm signing it, I'll check the fine print to see if there's anything about special clauses for uh God slamming me into a sexy Frenchman.
It's your parts just mashed through pants because of the wind.
Well, her
That
skirt was up from the wind, so like it's not that big a leap.
lovely
Th-
legs on that Diane Lane.
Beautiful, gorgeous, perfect legs. And so, yeah, he's a sexy French book dealer. And uh, Garrett, what did you make of the bat? Okay, first of all, let's describe his apartment because this apartment is too cute, but also just piled with books. Like they're everywhere. And he seems to know where all of them are, and he says he doesn't actually live here, like it's not his place, he's borrowing his friend's place, but his name is on the doorbell, so I don't know what that means.
Well, he's been there
um
a while. You're gonna put a little sticker so people know where, because he's obviously this dude's mashing in that apartment. Like
oh
he's
god,
smashing
yeah,
a lot of ladies up there, and he wants them to know, like, right apartment, you got it.
you got it, it's the one with the flower pot. That's my place. Come look at my books. mm
Yeah, it is kind of a Mickey Rourke 9.5 weeks situation where he's like at someone else's house, just handsome guy living at
just
friend's
living at
place.
his friend's place, and he has filled this place to the brim with books. And his so Diane Lane goes into the bathroom, and he's like, you can even look, get some band-aids out of the medicine cabinet, I don't care if you look at my prescriptions, like he's trying to be kind of flirty. The bathroom door doesn't fully work, and so she seems kind of nervous being in someone else's place, and she does open the medicine cabinet, and his pills fall into the toilet, which she then has to fish them out of the toilet, which
Hmm.
this is the first hint that there's gonna be a little bit of farcical shenanigans in this movie, that it doesn't pay off until much much later, when we're trying to hide a body and everything that could go wrong does go wrong. But this is your first hint that, like, while this may look like a serious drama about relationships, also she's gonna have to fish some pills out of the toilet and pretend she wasn't snooping through this man's medicine cabinet.
We've already had armpit farts and pissing on toilet seats. Like,
It's true.
Richard Gere has done an armpit fart in this movie already. Like, trust
Hmm.
me, we're not beyond toilet humor.
No,
Oh,
God, not at all. And then she does not wash her hands in between fishing thing out of toilet and touching her open
touching wound.
wound.
I didn't
That
even
was
notice that.
not okay with.
I do trust that the Frenchman is clean. No, I don't. He has AIDS,
Don't.
probably. That dude is
God,
smashing.
everyone, absolutely everyone. That man is anything with a pulse he will have sex with, 100%. And he's like, take a book with you when you go, and she's like, oh, I couldn't do that. And like, as far as sexy ways to lure someone in, offering them a free fancy old book is pretty cool. That's high up there. And so he's like,
Kit, you as a book dork, though,
I
that is
am,
like they hit your.
excuse
You were like,
me,
oh, you were moist
c'est
when he offered
moi,
her a book.
c'est moi, s'il vous plaît, donnez-moi un livre. S'il vous plaît. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty high level flirtation. And he's like, grab the second shelf, first one on the left, and he like reads the passage along with it, showing that he's got all of the stuff memorized. And of course, here's the thing: this movie is an insult to Frenchmen. Of course, it's a passage about wine.
Of course.
Of course. Oh, I just blindly have you pick a book, and oh no, it's about wine.
it was very
Wine and
funny
how
that
you should have sex with me.
the next scene, like, is, her at home and Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle describing to Richard Gere what happened. He's like, "Oh, you should send him a bottle of wine."
Didn't even know
Was
he
he
was French.
was he handsome?
And she just gives him
Yes.
a look. Mhm.
She did
And,
get banged up pretty good.
she did, she scraped the hell out of those knees, and they're scraped up for the rest of the movie. Like, those are lasting marks.
It was a strong wind.
Garrett, as a wrestling fan, were you delighted to see that the kid was watching wrestling when she came home and he wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be he was supposed to be doing his homework?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were watching some women's wrestling. I was trying to figure out who it was or when. I couldn't. But yeah, no, I appreciated that. You throw a little pro wrestling in a movie, you get my attention, but not they already had it. But this movie had a lot for me to enjoy, is what I'm saying. I liked this movie.
Mhm, mhm. And so, Dad has a new video camera, which I thought for sure was going to come back. That this was Chekhov's video camera that was going to be used to film sex or to spy on some. No, it's just for this one scene, so we can see him filming Diane Lane looking hot, and they're about to do it because she did the correct thing. She saw the sexy Frenchman. She came home to her husband to have sex with him while thinking about the sexy Frenchman. Perfect. No notes. That is how you should do things in this life. But of course, this is ruined, and the only reason this affair happens is because of that snot-nosed little punk kid ruining it. He's like, "Well, I can't sleep," or some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a good excuse.
Richard Gere isn't getting any ass in this movie.
No, it's really sad for him.
These are just people that they've been married 11 years in
Mhm.
this movie, and I don't even
And 9
think
of those years, they had this little twerp with them.
I, I don't even think they are necessarily having a bad marriage. Like, you can just see that it's like further enough in that it's a little boring
Yes, they have a cute, boring life where they joke with
in
each
the suburbs.
other in the
And
burbs, and the yeah.
I did think this was interesting. I guess the original script, and when Gear signed on with Adrian Lyne, the movie was supposed to be about two people who had a good, happy marriage and were like fucking, and things were good. And then she still fucks the Frenchman, about how like
Oh,
you can just like fall into cheating even if things are good. And they said
that
that, I
makes
guess,
her
the studio changed it. So
that would make her character a lot less likable and relatable, I think, if she was getting it from Richard Gere and a Frenchman. Like, come on. Don't hoard it, girl. You can't have all the sexy men.
you can't fight God's will.
That's your answer, Garrett? Even if
I'm
she's in
not
a
religious.
perfectly happy, sex-filled marriage, she can still go have sex with the Frenchman.
I'm not religious until wind mashes me into a hot European lady.
What was I supposed to do?
I prayed on it, and he said that I had to do it for him.
Mhm, and,
So then I sang
who
that Grease 2 song, and
do it for your country?
yeah.
Oh, lord. Yeah, so she goes I guess he left his phone number in the book, and, smart, good work, guy. She calls him from a payphone, and he's like, "Yeah, where are you?" And she's, "I'm in Grand Central Station." "Well, come on over." "Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you for the book and for helping me." "No, come on over."
This scene had the sexiest version that you could ever imagine of a dude teaching you to play pool or to do something.
Mhm.
You wish a Frenchman would stand behind you and make you read Braille with him.
Mhm. 100%. Sexy braille reading, y'all. And, do you remember the joke that he says?
Mm-mm.
It was about like my mother makes me chicken, the chicken makes me cough. I wish she next time she'd take the feathers off. That's
And
that's the sexy line that he has her read in braille.
well, she doesn't believe that that was in the book, and then they're looking at the joy of cooking
Yes.
or looking. It's Braille.
Looking. They're not looking at
Fuck.
nothing.
So she returns the second time, and you're like, "That's a little naughty," but she
Mhm.
goes back to the well a third time,
Yeah, that's the thing is
and that's
she
when you're like,
toys with this so many times, and after just the second time, she shows up at her husband's job with a new sweater because she's got a guilty conscience already before she's even done anything, and she probably should have taken that as a sign that this was a bad idea.
and each time she goes over, she's like, "No, no, no, I shouldn't do this." But Kit, you show up to a Frenchman's house for the third time and you bring him muffins.
Mhm.
You know why you're there.
We all know why you're there.
You didn't
We
just
know.
make a hot new friend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he's just my
My hot
friend.
city friend.
My hot city friend that clearly exists only for sex and reading Braille in a sexy way. Uh yeah, she's daydreaming while washing the dishes and yeah, that she has to go back again. And this time he's listening to music and so now they're dancing. And she's like, "I bet you do this all the time." And he's like, "No, no, mais non."
No, I
Only
just fuck mommies.
just
It's
two girlfriends. He
two
claims he's only
girlfriends.
ever two girlfriends. He's a good boy. I don't know why she believes him. That's stupid. Um, and she's like, "This is a mistake." And he says, "There's no such thing as a mistake. There's only what you do and what you don't do." And she rushes out. But Garrett, what happens?
Well, we get this amazingly edited scene that you mentioned.
Yes, because she forgot her coat. So she has to go back in and get the coat. And next thing you know, they're mashing faces as well as mashing parts. And then yes, the scene on the train home that's intercut with the like it's a really cool scene actually that it goes from them like mashing together to her on the train home and you're like, are we not gonna get the goods? Oh, we get the goods, but it's intercut with how she feels about it on the train home afterwards, and it is a masterful performance.
This is the Oscar scene. Like
100%
crying, laughing, spasming.
turned on, conflicted, like she's the range of emotions that go across her face and in her body language is so impressive. And in the scene itself, like I can't say that I've ever been in this situation, but like I believed it 100% that she was like feeling the excitement and anxiety at the same time while in bed with this hot Frenchman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Richard Gere has done so little for her in the last few years that getting her belly button blown makes her
Has
come immediately.
Yes, she starts shaking from that. And he has a tactic for this when she's like, "No, no, no, I shouldn't do this." He's like, "Hit me." She's like, "What?" It's like, "Hit me." And so she's like slaps him and they sort of wrestle a little bit and he's like, "Do it again." And next thing you know, they're like fight fucking, I guess. And it works. The tactic works. I don't know why, what it unlocks inside her, but suddenly she is ready to pound.
Yeah. Yeah, she's ready to get fucked and ride the shame train.
Yeah, and
Um,
it looks great. I have to say, it looked like good sex.
oh, it did. And I did see that Adrian Lyne said that the scene wasn't written the way it was presented, that
Really?
Ann Coates, the editor, he came in and she had done that on her own. Like it was supposed to just be sex and then the train ride. And she was the one that like cut them on top of each other and did it that way. And he was like, "Holy shit, that's great."
Yeah, it's genius. It's absolute genius.
No, it
And
was a what do you were their age range like, what would you were they about the same age, the Frenchman Paul the
no.
Frenchman
No,
and
the
Diane Lane?
Frenchman is specifically supposed to be younger, I think.
Okay.
He
I That's the
mentions that
vibe.
he's like 28. And I get the feeling she's in her late 30s, I want to say. I got the feeling she was like, because her friends are talking about whether or not she's had work done. And they're like,
Mm,
yeah, her ass is in the same place it was in college. Like, she's still hot. And so that's not a thing you usually are talking about with your friends when you're only 28. So I do
yeah.
think she's supposed to be like a decade older than him.
This movie is very masterful in showing you side shots of Diane Lane's ass getting
Mm,
pushed into things.
100%. Yes.
It, it's like it's an angle that I feel like isn't in all of these movies. This was like the little something different that they gave me so many times that it turns out is that my thing.
Garrett, we learned something new about you. You learned something new
Yeah,
about yourself.
I got it just turns out I needed a different angle 5 times.
This is my like small rant, but like this is kind of my problem with porn. They always use the same boring angles. They never show you anything interesting. They just are like, here it is. Here you can watch the P go into the V or the B or the whatever. And it's like, get a little creative. There are parts of the human anatomy that are much more interesting to look at while people are boning than just the genitalia.
Hire a cinematographer.
Hire a cinematographer for your porn, please.
Speaking of that, like Barry Sonnenfeld,
Mm.
who he directed Men in Black, he directed Adam's Family Values, one of my favorite movies. He started out as a cinematographer for the Coen brothers, but before that, his introduction into cinematography was shooting pornography. And
Really?
in his biography, he has the funniest stories of being on porn sets and just such a neurotic little man discussing like how sickening the smell is on a porn set.
Oh no, I never even considered that.
All I'm saying is I think Barry Sonnenfeld has a couple books, but his first one, great stories of shooting porn. But then yeah, went on to be cinematographers for the Coen brothers before shooting
Well,
his own movies.
maybe he should go back to that and bring his, years of experience back to porn. I'm just saying.
I don't think he'd do it. He seems a little
Of course
too
he wouldn't.
like a Larry David having to shoot porn.
I would
He'd have too
also
many
want to watch
complaints.
that. So yeah, we this is the part where I realized like, oh, because Richard Gere's asking her where she's been, and we realize she has no good excuse for going anywhere. The only reason she was in New York City proper in the first place was because she was getting stuff for her kid's birthday party, which why you would need to go all the way into the city to buy some balloons and party hats for a 9-year-old's birthday, I do not
Yeah.
know.
Are you telling me the Burbs don't have a party city? That's where
Right?
those exist.
I find that very difficult to believe. Maybe she was just looking for an excuse to get out of the burbs for a day, but she did so on Tornado Day. So that was,
It's really windy today.
if there's ever a day where it's just like, I think I'm just gonna drive straight to the Party City, park real close, to the entrance, and then just go get what I need and come back, that would be a day to do it.
It seems like her
She
job-ish is
doesn't
not
have a
really a
job.
job, but it's organizing fundraisers or something.
Yes, it seems like she does auction fundraisers. For Juilliard, she mentions at one point, and they just talk about the school. So maybe their kid goes to a private school and they raise money for. I
They
don't know.
seem rich and fancy.
They seem rich and vaguely fancy. They have a maid slash uh yeah, they have like a housekeeper slash babysitter. And so why the hell is their house so freaking messy, Garrett? Why is their house like this if she is home and before she's spending all her time fucking a Frenchman? Uh the place is already a wreck. And it's like you have a housekeeper and you have no job. That's
Well, she's
two full-grown adults at your house for 8 hours. Clean your house. You only even have one kid. You don't It's not like you've got like if you have like 6 kids, of course the house is going to be a mess no matter what. But rich people should not have a house this messy. I'm sorry.
yeah, get down there and clean the baseboards and
Mhm.
stop bringing the Frenchman muffins.
Give those muffins to your cleaning lady and maybe she'll do like a more thorough job.
Maybe give one to your son and see if you still want to give them to the French man.
The funniest part for me was when she comes home at one point and there's like stuff in front of the front door that she like pushes out of the way with the door, and I'm like, the kid just got home from school. How is there already stuff in front blocking the front door? That kid is a terrorist, Garrett. I think that may
I've
be
seen Malcolm in the Middle. I know those kids were naughty.
it.
I do. Okay. So, Richard Gere talks to somebody that she kind of tried to use as an alibi, finds out he has no idea what
Mm-mm.
she's talking about. She's in the home office with Richard Gere, and he's like definitely getting suspicious. Con, do you love me? Of course I love you. Okay, I guess I'm just being silly. And this is where we see the only thing there's like a handful of things I remembered from seeing this in 2002, and one was the snow globe. They have a snow globe
Mm.
collection. Was that a World Trade Center snow globe or was it a Chicago snow
It's a
globe?
Chicago snow globe because it says Windy City on it.
Okay, so I thought that's what it said in the second viewing because I went back and I was rewatching it this morning before we recorded. And in the first scene, you can only see the buildings. It doesn't show the Windy City thing in the first
Yeah,
shot. So at first, when I'm looking at it, it looked like the Twin Towers.
100% thought it was the Twin Towers too at first. Thought it was a New York snow globe. That only later when you see it more carefully and closely do you see the Windy City thing. Um I really wish they had included a scene of her giving the snow globe away. That is such an important object in this movie, is that snow globe, and we don't see what may be the most important scene regarding it, which is why the hell does
Why
she give
that
it to the
one?
Frenchman? Why that? Well, Windy City, and it was the
We met
wind
on the
that brought
wind.
them together. But at the same time, like, it's psychotic behavior to give away a gift your husband gave you to your lover. That's insane to me.
They have an unruly amount of snow globes in their house.
It is an unruly amount of snow globes. It's a bit of a
It
problem.
it actually kind of makes the messy house make more sense because nobody would have a room with 150 displayed snow globes.
Garrett, are you saying that people who collect snow globes are just inherently messy people?
I'm saying that it actually is making me realize that maybe there's a mental illness involved.
No, they're just collections. They get them on all their vacations together. It's the history of their love written into snow globe form.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much better than having a room full of Funko Pops, is all I'm saying.
You know what? If she had given that Frenchman a beloved Funko Pop, this whole movie would have turned out differently. You can't kill someone with a Funko Pop.
What? Is this a Wolverine variant?
Limited edition.
A chase. Oh god.
So there's this montage of like her living her dual life, right? Sexy Frenchman and the husband. Everyone seems like they're having a good time. There's a just a brief shot of her sitting in a chair with her hand down her jeans, and I thought that was great.
I love the cut before it. You're right. This is a once again a masterful montage.
Mhm.
You get to see Richard Gere playing video games with Dewey from from Malcolm in the Middle, and then it just immediately cuts to Diane Lane jacking off in a chair.
It's so funny. It's so good. It's
And then
perfect.
and then the shot of Richard Gere putting his son on his shoulders, and then the next
Mhm.
shot is basically this Frenchman and Diane Lane doing a flying 69.
Seriously, why did this not win an Oscar for editing? It needed that Oscar for editing. It's so good.
It's such a funny edit. You're right. This movie's got hijinks. Like,
It
he's
does.
literally like her vagina in his face. They're both clothed, but it's oh my god. Oh
It
my
is
god.
wild. And what's really funny is that this movie has so many hijinks, and also I think did the best job of any movie we've seen so far of showing like horrific consequences for your family and your love and your life, and like why it's a bad idea to cheat on your spouse. This movie definitely made me not want to cheat on my partner more than anything else we've seen, and yet also there are hijinks.
Oh my god. How guilty. There's never been two people who have
Mm-mm.
seemed more guilty in any movie we've watched.
Mm-mm.
These two crumble so fucking hard in front of the police
It's so
after
bad.
we get through, what happens. And it's insane that they aren't in prison.
It is. So he draws on her while she's asleep. The
Oh,
Frenchman draws a little flower, I guess, on
yeah.
her pelvic bone,
Right on the
and
mons pubis.
right on the mons pubis. And it did make me wonder if maybe she was like, if I would say about 15% of why she's doing this is to get away from her husband and child long enough to have a goddamn nap.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that she fell asleep after sex with the Frenchman and looked so peaceful does make me think that maybe part of this is like, oh, I'm not in my messy ass house with my incompetent, can't even put a shirt on husband and my peeing on the toilet seat kid. I can have 10 goddamn minutes to sleep. It's not
uh,
even about the sex anymore.
she does start to get pretty sloppy with her infidelity, where now they're going to
Mhm.
coffee shops and she's getting her butt fingered
Mhm.
and
In
in the
full
coffee
public
shop
view. Yeah, yeah. That was
in
wild
front
when
of
he
her
just
husband's coworker.
yeah, just he just shoves his hand down the back of her jeans in the middle of a diner.
Handful of ass.
Handful of ass. Don't forget though that the drawing of course comes back,
Oh,
that
in the tub.
in the tub we see her notice it and she's like scrubbing it off, and then Richard Gere comes in and she's in this, sexy hot tub type, well, not hot tub, but a hot bathtub, drinking some kind of, adult beverage and just enjoying herself, and he's like, room for two, and she's like, always. And I was like, oh, now they're gonna have sex. Oh no, no.
She shuts him down so quick. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you made it seem like she was excited for him to come in, and I guess she kinda was.
She like pretends to be because she knows she's supposed to be like, that's what she's supposed to say to her husband. But I definitely thought, like, she was gonna, but I don't know if it was because like she was worried he would see the mark still that she hadn't fully scrubbed off, or if it's because she's just like
Ugh.
so unattracted to Richard Gere that she just can't anymore.
If you needed to cover your tracks of
Hmm.
infidelity, do you think she shoulda just, like, sucked
Had
that
sex with
guy
him.
off and pretended that it was fun?
Yes, 100%.
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just crazy."
Yeah, we just had sexy bath times. Obviously, I mean,
I love that she abandons him in that tub and he just stays.
he
He's
just
just now
got in. What do you want him to do?
he's just left alone, sad in a lukewarm bath to scrub his ass.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm cold. No, I want to get out." And it's like, you can add more hot water to a bath, lady.
No, you can't. Not when your pud husband's in it that you do not want to be around.
Yeah. And if anything, like if he didn't already suspect something, he certainly would after that.
When he walks in the other room and she's jilling off in the bed shouting Pierre. Like,
Yeah. And so the next morning he's like, "Hey, why don't we go into the city together and we'll get lunch together?" And she's like, "Oh no, I got to get a facial today." And it's like, "Yeah, she does. Not the kind you're thinking of, Richard Gere. The other kind." And he actually calls. He calls the fucking beauty salon or whatever it is, the spa, and finds out she doesn't have an appointment. Garrett, at what point did you expect him, if ever, to actually confront her? Because he has been suspecting this since day one.
yeah, there has never been a second where he didn't feel like maybe she's fucking a French guy. Uh,
Yeah, even before she was fucking the French guy, he kind of suspected maybe she was thinking about fucking the French guy.
and even after this, like it takes basically him firing a guy at work and the guy being like, "Well, yeah, maybe take a look at your own family," for him to hire a private eye.
Yeah,
It which also are all private eyes at this point old men? Is that a young man's job? Can you hire a young private eye?
you cannot. They're all retired cops who are doing this because it's a way to keep busy in their retirement because their wife does not want them hanging around the house all day. That is my
I
theory.
I think if you see an old man in a trench coat with a giant Nikon camera,
Mm-hmm.
dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway.
Maybe hire, hear me out, kid detective.
Mm, get I mean, what, you want him to have his own kid do it? You want
Well,
Dewey to do
obviously
it?
not, but I'm saying that Frankie Muniz was probably, looking for work at the
Ah,
time and he could have done it.
that's
Uh,
true.
there's
You know what?
other
Good point. Get like your Harriet the Spy. Get her on the
Mhm.
case. She'll do
She
it.
lived in New York,
Yeah,
right?
I don't remember.
I mean, she was a
Nancy
city kid, I don't remember.
Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, they
Mhm.
would get to the bottom of this. And come to think of it, I'm surprised more people didn't hire them to find whether their spouse was cheating on them instead of, say, the lost heirloom necklace or whatever.
You end up in jail because you hired children to take pictures of your wife having sex with a French guy.
I'm sorry, what did you ask this child to do? Well, I listen, he said that he had a kid detective agency and no case too big or too small, and it was only 50 cents. I couldn't afford an adult private eye, but this kid's, it was only 50 cents plus expenses.
It's like, "What did this cost?" "I had to get him a PS2."
Encyclopedia Brown would have done it for less. Oh, we have to talk about, so she runs into the friends. So she runs into her friend Tracy, and who Tracy introduces Sally from Planned Parenthood, which I thought was the weirdest way to introduce someone ever. And then hilariously, when she ducks into the bathroom because she sees her Frenchman, you hear Sally say, "Why do you always introduce me as Sally from Planned Parenthood? You make it sound like I'm just walking around New York handing out condoms."
Oh, I love that scene. It is a
It's
really I mean,
so good.
it's funny, and then, of course, French man shows up to have a quick toilet bang.
Yeah, there was great. He's grabbing her tits in the bathroom, and she's like, "You take me to the best places." It was funny. It was cute. He's got her, up against the stall. They're having a great time. She gets back to the table, and the top button on her blouse is undone. And they're like, "Hey, did you see that? Oh, we thought maybe you'd been abducted by that tall drink of water over there. And she's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, that guy over there. He's
That
the
tall drink
handsome
of
one.
Perrier.
Tall drink of Merlot. Uh, and they start talking about having an affair. Sally from Planned Parenthood is, of course, the one who's like, I bet an affair would be nice for me. It'd be like taking a pottery class. It would expand my horizons, and no one else needs to know about it. And Tracy pops in to say, no, an affair is nothing like a pottery class, which she says with such a straight face, and it is such a mood killer as they realize, like, oh, she has a personal sad story to tell.
This lady feels like she hadn't seen in a while really opened up with just like, I boned somebody. It ruined my whole life. I wish I'd never done it. Affairs are bad.
It's the one thing in her life she would undo if she could, and it's like, damn, dude. Uh, and so this has our heroine rethinking some things about, maybe she should call this off. And this is also when Richard Gere finds out that his employee has been shopping around, seeing if he can get better offers. And Richard Gere fires him for this, saying that, this is about loyalty. And the guy's like, dude, you're laying me. You're firing me. I have a family. And Richard Gere's like, this is a family. And he's like, you don't know shit about family. Check out your own family. And I'm like, can we get back to the fact that Richard Gere just fired this man for looking at potentially getting a new job? What an asshole. Like, what an absolute piece of shit boss he is. Suddenly, I don't care that he's getting cheated on. He is a bastard. Oh, you were looking at changing jobs? Well, you're fired. Because that hurts my feelings that you would want someone who pays you more and gives you better benefits than I do. That makes you disloyal. Go fuck yourself.
To be fair, he is having other issues in his life with loyalty, and
Mm.
this guy caught the brunt of it.
You think that's what it's about? That he's not normally one of those people who says this workplace is like a family as a way to get you to accept lower pay and worse conditions?
Well, that too, but I think that he could have maybe looked the other way if his wife wasn't fucking Paul.
Listen, I know you've got a family, you've got kids, you got bills to pay and a mortgage, but my wife's fucking a Frenchman, so I
So,
need you to get your ass out.
so they fuck at a movie theater. Detective
Mm-hmm.
catches him snapping pictures. She falls asleep in his apartment. We see their son sitting on the steps of the school waiting for mom with the teacher.
Mm-hmm. Mom
She's
is
in the
fucking up at
city.
everything. Mom is fucking up absolutely everything these days. She can't cook. She can't do anything right. She can't pick her kid up from school. It's a little weirdly regressive in some of its,
She she
ideas about
finally,
women.
yeah. Yeah. This time she like finally just got too comfortable, flew too close to the sun,
Yes. Mhm.
and she gets a parking ticket in front of the Frenchman's house, and she's like freaking out because she has to go get her kid. The amount of time it would have taken for her to drive to New York from wherever the fuck she lives,
Mhm.
she had to have been 3 hours late picking that kid up at school.
Absolutely.
She's trying to get through rush hour, and she gets there. The teacher's pissed at her. The kid is fine. He's not even mad a little bit. But we finally get to my favorite scene
Oh
in the
good.
in the
Okay.
film. And that is, it cuts to Diane Lane sitting at home,
Mhm.
smoking a cigarette
Yep.
in front of a pile of McDonald's. And
Showing what a truly terrible mother she is. She bought her child McDonald's
see,
instead
I
of
think it was a
cooking.
perfect commercial. I was kind of like, I was
You're
like,
in the middle of an affair that is ripping apart your life. Have a
ba da ba
cigarette.
ba ba. I'm loving it. And I was just like, been there, girl. I've been there. I've had that cig. I've had that pile of McDonald's. The grimace was looking right down the barrel of the camera.
Mm,
The rest of the movie, anytime someone cries, which is a lot
it's a
for the rest of this
lot.
movie, every time out loud, I said ba da dot dot dot.
You did not. You
Every
did
single
not
time.
hear it. If
Because this movie now made me associate you sad, you deserve a McChicken.
and you know,
Go get yourself a slutty little snack.
get
Have
yourself
yourself
a
a
little,
Shamrock Shake.
have some nuggies. Get some chicky nuggies. It'll make everything better.
Yeah, you eat some of the mashed chicken bits and have yourself a little ciggy. All your problems fade away for 2.5 minutes or however
if
long.
if they paid for this product placement, it apparently worked on you.
Well, I
20
didn't
plus
want to buy the
years later.
camera. They showed me the
No,
box to the camera. I don't remember what brand it was.
that's a good
That
point.
McDonald's ad. McDonald's would have had to sign off on all of that. Everything was label out kit. This movie didn't show me any other products, but it force fed me McDonald's as this woman was a bad mother. Why did they sign off on this being an okay product placement?
I don't know. I don't know. Because it's in that scene where she's like picking up the phone to call the Frenchman to call it off because she's clearly starting to fail as a mother. And the kid walks in and she has to hang up quickly and he sees her crying in front of the McDonald's.
Okay, let's get to the final 30 minutes of this movie.
Okay, so first of all, what does she find out about the Frenchman?
Oh, that he's got a girlfriend? And that
Yeah!
really, really bothers her way too much.
Yeah, I was like, where do you get off being mad about this? You have a husband.
This is the same thing from Baby Girl.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Literally
Except
the exact same situation, except Diane Lane beats the shit out of this woman. Or like
she
tries to in
tries
a
to.
library or something.
It is really funny that she tries to attack this woman in the middle of a bookstore, and then they have like fight sex back at his apartment where he fucks her in the hallway of his apartment.
Whoa. Right
It
in the stairwell.
wowie wow wow.
And
They make
yeah.
French hot hate sex seem really good. It seems
Yeah.
good.
I couldn't do the stairwell.
You'd be too anxious about people
Oh,
walking in.
way too anxious. It's no.
Mm. Especially if I don't know, maybe you're cheating on your husband,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you shouldn't be having sex in public. But what do I know? So yes, she's running out right as Richard Gere is arriving. More hijinks.
Real cartoony the way that it's like he doesn't go, then he goes, and then she leaves, and then he comes. They never see each other.
and he's surprisingly calm as he goes into the apartment complex and just like knocks on the door and is like, "Can I come in? I'm Connie's husband." And this scene is bizarre because first of all, the Frenchman is wearing no shirt. He has just thrown on an overcoat. He looks absolutely ridiculous. And Richard Gere's just like wandering around the apartment looking at things like, yeah, I bet they fucked there. They
Every
fucked
surface.
there.
I can still
They
see the
fucked
imprint of
there.
her ass on that ottoman.
I would recognize that ass print anywhere.
And the craziest shit is as they're talking, and he's just like, "You fucked my wife here," and he touches the braille. And then
Yeah.
she's like, he says something about himself, and she's like, "Yeah, I know, she told me." And he's like, "You guys talked about me?"
Yeah, it was the question of whose idea it was to move to the burbs, and
Oh
both of them
yeah.
misremember it as being the other one's idea to move to the burbs, which makes me think it was both of their ideas, and they're both just trying to blame it on each other now that they hate living in the burbs. Yeah, he looks at the bed, and I was like, "Don't look at the bed, man. This isn't gonna make you feel any better." Uh, the Frenchman offers him a drink. They both are drinking vodka and
Kind of slamming it a little.
kind of slamming it a little.
Fair. It's an awkward situation for
Yeah,
everyone.
and it's all very weird. The tension. and yet the calm with which Richard Gere is approaching this whole thing. And then he sees the snow globe and he's like, "This was a gift from me." He picks it up and he turns it, and it's a music box. And the Frenchman's like, "Huh, I didn't know it did that." And he's
And
like, "Why would she give this to you?" And he said, "I don't know. I guess she wanted to buy me something." And he's like, "She didn't buy it. I gave it to her." And that's what really fucks him up.
this is a true smoke in a McDonald's situation.
Yeah, he starts to feel physically sick and dizzy, and I was like, I am right here with you feeling it. Like, he's doing a really wonderful job of portraying this man. Like, suddenly it's really hitting him just how deep this fucking affair goes. And
We can probably still smell it in there.
yeah,
Like it,
yeah, they no, Garrett, because they fucked
it
in the
was in the
hallway.
hall. Well, this he just walked by it. He caught a waft, and those sheets
Yeah,
definitely have been washed recently.
I
So,
was gonna say, ain't no way that Frenchman washes his sheets every time.
like you saw those book piles. He's not
Mm.
that concerned about his house.
So he starts to really lose it and then hits him with the snow globe. And that's
Ba
one
da ba
hefty
ba ba.
fucking it's one hefty fucking snow globe. And next thing you know, dude's just dies immediately. And Richard Gere is totally at a loss for what to do. He's so in over his head. He almost calls 911 and then decides against it. He's I felt bad for him. I felt genuinely really bad for him. And then he's like, "Well, I don't know what to do." And he hears his wife on the answering machine calling to to stop the affair. And that's when he's like, "I guess I got to hide the evidence."
the the tension and the thrills of the next
Mhm.
like 15 minutes are so excellent.
Yes. Oh,
Oh my
100%.
god. The second best elevator scene of Adrian Lyne's films.
The man loves himself a shitty, half broken warehouse style elevator. Uh
We've established early in the movie the elevator to this building is out of order and is like on the fritz. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
and turns out the time it decides not to work is when you've got a body wrapped up in a rug that you're trying to get out of the apartment.
Incredible.
It's a comedy of
Incredible.
errors. Just the number of things, like, he's carrying the body out to his trunk and a guy offers to give him a hand, which, this is New York. The fact that someone offered to help him is, what were the chances of that?
Well, this is the clean trash and hurricane district, man. Like people just be different in the clean trash district.
So
The trash is
true.
clean. What do you have to be angry about?
That, you know what? Good point. You get hit in the
Zebras are
face.
blowing everywhere.
You get hit in the face with a balloon zebra, and you're just
Yeah,
not going to be that mad about it.
it's whimsical. You
Yeah.
never know who you're gonna fuck in the Wynn district.
Oh, I love this. Yeah. Okay.
This is
And
the New York that we dream. New York, where dreams are made
made
of.
of. Yeah, this is the one they're talking about.
This is it.
The city where anything is possible and no one sleeps because they're fucking all night. That's this one. And
Uh,
so he wipes his prints off of stuff, but he also is clearly getting his fingerprints on new stuff as he's wiping his fingerprints off the old stuff, which I found hilarious. Like, it's on the duct tape, it's on the books, it's on everything. There is so much stuff he leaves his fingerprints on as he goes through the effort of cleaning it off of the glass he was drinking out of.
Man, yeah, he was not ready to commit a crime today.
No, and you know what? That's the worst, when you just weren't prepared for it. You didn't have your gloves, you didn't have a hacksaw, you got nothing.
Hey, I had norovirus recently. I was so nauseous and out of it. If anybody had come near me, I would have murdered them with a snow globe. It's like
So yeah, he makes it just in time for his kids' school play, which is the most bizarre. Garrett, the things on this stage, there's like 30 rabbits because I guess it's an Easter play, maybe?
Did we do this for Easter? Is this an Easter movie?
I mean, it might be. They're like having dinner together, and like Richard Gere says a prayer, and there's like family there, and it looks like it's some sort of holiday.
Hmm. The French guy does kind of look like Jesus.
There you go. And yeah, but there's also, along with all the bunnies, there's a kid playing like a bulldozer. Like,
Classic kid play though. You know, you
yeah,
got to have somebody's got to play the bulldozer. There's 90 kids in the class. There's not a part for everybody. This isn't our town.
it's
You
very
know,
it's very much like the Love Actually, where they have to add so many kids to the Jesus play that there's lobsters and
a
octopus in the
100%.
play. Very
Yeah.
much gave those vibes. And they're singing a song about how you got to dream big, and people who try to cut you down just don't understand and don't have dreams of their own. And I'm like, is the dream supposed to be to have sex with a Frenchman? Is that what I'm taking from this? Go have sex with a Frenchman?
It's just like sometimes the wind blows. Cut your wife some slack.
So he's like, he ditches his bloody shirt in the school bathroom, which is also where he's washing blood off his chest, which is wild. But he does make it, because he's a good dad, just in time to hear his kid's solo line. So,
If
dad points.
you don't know shit about parenting if you haven't been shirtless washing blood off your chest in the school bathroom and is crying, and that was another, like, as he's like scrubbing and he's crying, I'm sitting there on my couch going ba-da-da-ba-ba. Like, this is, I swear to God, I want McDonald's today. Like,
Garrett, you said before we started that you thought you knew that there was going to be a recurring bit that you could have. And I was like,
mhm.
okay, I don't know where that's going to go, but I bet I did not expect, I did not predict in any way, shape, or form that it was going to be a fucking McDonald's commercial every time someone's crying. And now I really, really want chicken nuggets.
That actually, we should probably go get some for the Instagram. Like, get a cigarette and like some nugs and just crying and eating it. Like, this week on the show, Unfaithful.
Oh Lord. And
Oh my God. After the play's over, another like crazy tense moment. He has now got his son in the car with
where
a corpse.
in the trunk, yes. And then of course somebody like hits the back of his car in the parking lot, and the trunk won't close. This comedy of errors, this absolute farce, goes to the next level as he's trying to shove the trunk down, and the guy's like, well, you want me to take a look at it? And he's like, no. And his kids in the back seat were like, dad, what's going on?
My God. And yeah, goes home, has to sneak
Mm-hmm.
away in the night to take the Frenchman to the dump, put him in
Mm-hmm.
clean trash,
Goes to the
clean
car
trash dump.
wash. He went to the clean trash dump. That was his mistake. I bet they wouldn't have found the body if he'd gone to the dirty trash
Dirt.
dump.
Yeah, no one wants to touch that.
It's like, I like to think of it as like separating your whites from the color clothes.
Clean trash, dirty trash.
You got your clean trash and your dirty trash dumps.
That's
Um,
basically what recycling is. Most of that ends up at a dump anyway.
yeah,
That's your
and
clean trash.
he gets his car washed and I assume detailed. Like
Washes away his sins.
he's doing his best, but oh, the cops are here, and I recognized this cop, this fat fuck cop, from one of my other little known obsessions. There was a TV show called Boomtown that I was absolutely obsessed with back in the day, and it was a crime. show that showed the crime from different perspectives. So you would see it from the victim's perspective, you would see it from the coroner's perspective, from a newspaper reporter's perspective, and there was always like a twist at the end where you saw something that you weren't expecting, and it like makes the whole thing fall into place because it's all about how we all view things differently. And there were some really gnarly ones where like the final twist is that you see that this guy that was they found in the walls of the building was alive when they was put in there. No one knows that. You just see it from his perspective there at the very end. And it's like, this was a really cool, stupidly high concept show, canceled too soon. And this fat fuck was a cop on that show too.
And they're like, and he was the wall body.
And it kind of made me want to like watch this crime having unfolded in that sense of Boomtown, where where we see it from here's from the wife's perspective, and then later we get the husband's perspective, and then at the very end we get the Frenchman's perspective where we find out he was alive while wrapped up in the rug getting thrown into the dirty trash.
It's a real
Sorry,
Monty
the clean
Python.
trash.
I feel happy.
I'm not dead yet.
It's like, and then the final episode is from the snow globe's perspective.
Yes, exactly. And that's how we find the note that's hidden inside the snow globe, is because we saw it from the snow
Oh,
globe's perspective last.
Diane Lane finds a beautiful little note in that snow globe
I
that
know.
when she realizes it's back home where it's supposed to be, and it says, "Don't open this till our 25th
Tw-
wedding anniversary."
I
Oh,
know. So the boyfriend's dead. Everyone's got secrets. They're keeping secrets from each other. They both know that the other one knows, but they don't know. She finds the photos that
it,
from the
at the
PI
yeah, in
at
a
the
dry
dry
cleaner
cleaner.
jacket. Man,
And
what these two are so stressed, Kit.
yeah,
Why in the ever living fuck are they throwing a party? Why
I
wouldn't you just
don't
say, "I
know.
have the flu. We need to cancel this party." Somebody needs to cancel this fucking party, Kit.
When was this party scheduled? Had it been on the books for months? Because, like, surely you didn't, the same week that you called or that you killed your wife's boyfriend, you didn't also call up your friends and say, like, hey, how about a dinner party? Surely not.
I don't understand why the cops didn't arrest either of these people.
Right? And that's the thing is they are acting so suspicious. And the only reason I can think that they didn't arrest them immediately is because they're still busy getting Richard Gere's fingerprints out of the apartment and they're not ready to make the arrest just yet.
Which I guess explains why, like, by the end of this movie, they're just sitting in a car having like a fantasy conversation about leaving the country together. Because at this point, they both know exactly what happened.
Yeah, and so mom's, so the secret message in the snow globe. Oh my god, it broke me, Garrett.
Oh.
Richard Gere sitting at the piano, like playing piano with the kid, and the message is a love note that says, "If you see this, do not open until our 25th anniversary." And it tells her, it's like, to my beautiful wife, the best part of every day. Oh my god.
Ba,
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
ba, ba. I'm loving it.
Everyone, and so she starts picturing herself in the beginning, in the wind, and her getting invited up to the apartment for the first time to go clean off her knees, and instead she grabs a cab and waves goodbye and says thank you. And god, how she wishes that was what she did instead. And oh my god, did this movie, most movies that are about having an affair and the terrible consequences thereof do a bad job of making me not want to do the affair. It's like the Scarface problem, right? Is that people watch Scarface and they're like, damn, it looks badass to be a drug lord.
Right.
And And then they ignore the fact that all the bad stuff happens. They're like, yeah, but I wouldn't do the dumb stuff that gets me caught. I would just enjoy being a cool crime lord. And this one does a really effective job of making it seem like, no, the bad stuff is 100% inevitable. There is no going back. Once you've broken something, it cannot be repaired. There is no fixing this. And yeah, so they're in the car outside the police station talking about, like, we could just go, we could sell everything, we could go to Mexico and live on the beach and tell our kid it's going to be an adventure. And my theory is, Garrett, that he's about to go turn himself in.
That's what I assumed as well, because he had mentioned that in
Mhm.
dialogue in that scene. And it is a reveal that they're at the police station. We know they're at a red light having this conversation. And like the final moment is just that pan back to show you that they're next to the police station,
Mhm.
credits. And it leaves it up in the air. Are they gonna run? Is he gonna turn himself in? I think he's about to go to prison and just let them
These people
live
are
their.
too stressed. They can't. They would never be able to you see them flinching at the sound of a siren in the distance. Like, there's no way they will be able to ever come back from this. They
Yeah.
would never be able to live in peace after knowing that they're totally fucked, because they do find the body, and they're asking a lot of questions. We find out the Frenchman had a wife who's missing him and looking for him. They're separated, but like, come on. Which goes to show, like, there is so much about this man that Diane Lane did not know.
Yeah.
He's French. Listen, what did you expect? French people have a very different attitude about this kind of thing. I'm sorry.
The
I don't
wife
mean
might have
to.
been okay with it.
I mean, I very well might have if she was also French. I don't know.
It was the wind.
'Twas the wind. The wind made them do it. I understand. Why can't you, Richard Gere?
I think it's weird this movie's rated so low.
Yeah.
50% seems really low for this movie. I don't think this is a bad movie. I think there's dumb
No.
shit in it, but I thought it was very enjoyable as far as erotic thrillers go, and how well it was shot and how it unfolded, especially the final 30 minutes of the movie is just stress and
It is very stressful because they are so stressed. Like, and I've watched enough, crime related stuff to know that, like, oh, this guy's totally fucked. He's leaving so much evidence. It's 2002. There's DNA testing now. Your bones. You should have done this crime back in the 70s.
just born in the wrong time period. But if he just waits a little bit, 9/11's about to happen and they might just forget about it.
It's 2002. 9/11 already did happen.
Yeah, but this movie was shot in like March 2001.
Oh,
Like
wow.
this came out in 2002. So like these people don't know about 9/11 yet. These characters are
Oh,
that's why I was like, "Oh, that's crazy if the World Trade Centers are in there because that hasn't even happened yet." I was like, this might be the last like moment of seeing the World Trade Centers on film before they're looked at in a different way. Wasn't just
no.
Chicago.
Just Chicago. Sorry.
I thought it was cool too that the first half of this movie is her movie.
Mhm.
The whole first, like, he is a side character. He's in just scenes here and there. And then the second half like really digs more into how he's dealing with all of this. I really like that we kind of got both
The sh
sides and it equally was their movie in two halves.
So you're saying, like Boomtown, it changed
It did.
perspective
Holy
halfway
shit.
through.
Did we look to see if this was from the writer of Boomtown? And that's
And that's why they got that same cop. I mean, Boomtown was like around the same time. I was in high school, I believe, when it came out. Are we looking this
let's
up?
I'm Googling to see if, because I mean, I think Adrian Lyne, no, Alan Sargent, Spider Man 2, Ordinary People, Paper Moon. I'm not seeing Boomtown.
Ah. Yeah, Boomtown also came out in 2002. It was the exact same year. This man was just being a cop all over the place. He just has that
Th-
cop look to him. What do you want from him?
I'm still kind of searching, like, please let there be a Boomtown in here. It looks like one of the writers wrote Spider-Man 2 and the other wrote Castaway. So,
Not quite. It's too bad.
no, this was a fun one. I'm happy that Adrian Lyne did this one.
I mean, listen, I do have the DVD box set of Boomtown if you ever wanna if you ever wanna watch it. It has Donnie Wahlberg, Neil
My
McDonough,
favorite new kid.
and the guy who played Bubba in Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
Mytelke Williamson, that guy.
One of my
It's
favorite
great.
things to ask people is what's your favorite Neil McDonough vehicle?
It's Boomtown. I think of it
It's
every single time. He's the
I love
prosecutor.
you're one of the only people I haven't asked that, and it's insane that you're the only one that would have had it locked and loaded, ready to
Locked,
go.
loaded, ready to go. He's so good in it. All right, so I think it's time, Garrett. You
Yeah,
ready?
take her home.
Were you aroused? Scale of 1 to 5.
This was a high one. I actually might go I think I'll go 4 on this.
Mm,
The sex scenes are really sexy without showing much at first. It's not until the bathtub scene we even get nudity, which is pretty far in. Um, and as far as like a sex scene somehow being really graphic without nudity, this
mm-hmm.
movie really achieved that.
Yeah, him blowing on her belly button was so intense for her and for us.
Her and her mom jeans jerking off in the chair.
It was great. Yeah, you know what?
Side ass. It
You
was a
got to
lot of
see the
side
side
ass.
ass, a lot
No
of side
dudes.
ass. No,
Not not
no,
a not
no
a
schlong. Can't give it a full marks if there's no schlong. And he looks good with a shirt off though. So you know what? Yeah, I'm with you. I would say 4. 4 sounds good.
Yeah, the stairwell, the bathroom
Hmm.
one, there was like it gives you a little bit throughout it, it's like it's sprinkled throughout
That's
and then
true.
hit
It's not like some where they really front load it with sex and then backload it with thrills. It's backloaded with thrills, but the sex is nicely spaced out between. So
Adrian Lyne knows
yeah,
what he's doing.
he knows what he's doing. He's a master of the craft. All right, and so Garrett, were you thrilled? 1 to 5.
I mean, I almost wanna give it a 4, but it isn't because it really sneaks up on you when it happens. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know it's gonna I mean, I'd seen the movie before too, but I don't know, I'm somewhere between maybe 3.5, but I do feel like maybe it does deserve that 4 because the tension once he has the body and, like, how much you feel like he's going to fuck up.
Yes.
Like you
Oh
said,
God, yes.
everything he's doing feels wrong and that he's going to get caught, and then they are so guilty, you're just like, "They're gonna get caught," but it just keeps not happening to the point that you're like, "What's going to happen?" Like
Yeah.
and once you get that note and you feel sympathetic for them again and
Hmm.
these are 2 people that by the end you don't really want anything bad to happen to them.
Yeah, you want these crazy kids to patch it back up and put it back together, but you know it's impossible. Like it's all too fucked at this point. I would give it the full 4.5 actually,
Okay,
because I we have seen movies that had more thrills in that,
that's
like,
true.
there's a killer hiding in the ceiling, but never before have they made me feel the tension and put myself in that perspective of being like, oh God, do I sympathize with what you're going through right now? Like, this sucks. And I really feel for, like, in the moment, I feel it like this movie did. Like
Good
it
point.
there could have been more big things happening, but the nuance with which they were done is so good that it really draws you in.
Yeah, full agree. Maybe I should have gone higher, but what's done is done.
What's done is done. Just like this affair. Go get yourself some McDonald's and answer for me, Garrett. Would you ruin your life for this Frenchman?
The Frenchman, I mean, it's God's will. And I
God
have
and
no choice.
Ronald McDonald want you to do this.
What am I supposed to do? Like defy serendipity and not come? I don't know. No, yeah, I have to. It's God's will. I'm not, as a not religious man. Yes, to me, this would be like, this feels like it was supposed to happen, and then everything's part of God's plan. Who
It
knows?
was
Maybe
it was
Richard Gere does something great in prison.
God God put that snow globe there. God put that snow globe there.
Well, God instructed Diane Lane to take the snow globe to the house.
Oh, that's the missing scene that we really needed, was where God told her to give away the snow globe, which still, I do wish we had seen that scene because I want to know what was going through her head, because that is
God was
wild.
God was played by Kirk Cameron, but they cut all those scenes out. The
Like
audience didn't like it.
it goes to show that like she had more emotionally invested in this affair than she looks to have on the surface if she was willing to give him that. But at the
You're
same time,
right. Plus the beating.
she knows almost nothing about him, and
Mhm.
yet she's so emotionally invested in this, even though it looks like it's just sex, that she's willing to give him this, symbol of her love with her husband.
Like you said, though, that dude let her take a fucking nap, and that's all she really wanted.
So fucking true. If you had to be around that snot-nosed, seat-peeing kid.
And your arm farting husband, like, yeah.
I get it. I get it. Would I ruin my life for this Frenchman? I don't know, man. I'm really torn. The book thing is mwah. And sexy Frenchman.
You would be gone so fast, Kit. You were so book horny watching this movie, and I knew that when you saw all those first editions, your mouth
Yeah.
started salivating like you were thinking about pie. Like, this is ba-da-da-da-da. She's loving it, folks.
It's true. It's true. French isn't like my favorite accent, but like it's an accent. And he's got all them books.
He's fit. He's got
Mhm.
books, and you can't tell me you don't want your bum mashed against any of those surfaces they were against.
I do, Garrett, I do.
The wind, Kit.
Uh, the wind made me do. But it looks so terrible. Like it looks awful. I think what this movie made me want more than anything is to not have that kid as a son. That's what I
Yeah.
really took away from it, is that that kid will ruin your fucking life. And she and Richard Gere might have been happy forever if not for him.
Wow. Wow.
I'm rethinking some things now. What if I have a kid and he turns out like that little fuck?
You have no choice but to
I
mash if
have
you
no
see the
choice.
Frenchman.
If I see the Frenchman in the books in the wind, what do you want from me? I'm only
Yeah.
human.
The thing is, did John watch this with you?
He did not. That's the thing, is I don't
Oh
have his
shit.
perspective on it because he had to go to bed early both nights that I watched it over.
Okay, so here's what I say. If it does happen,
Mhm.
when you have to tell him what happened, just
Mhm.
slide him a copy of that. Let him watch it first.
Mhm.
He'll get it.
I think he's going to be like, but it makes having an affair look like super bad. Like it makes it like it's pretty clear about like how terrible the consequences will be.
And
Why did
your
you do
response
it?
will be, no, but the first part with the
No, the
wind.
first part with the wind and the books.
You slide him a sack of McDonald's and a pack of Marlboros.
I love that he is such a bad influence on her that this Frenchman got her smoking by the end.
I want to start up again. This is
Now you're craving McDonald's and a cigarette.
oh, RFK would hate this movie.
What are you talking about? She doesn't get the kid vaccinated in it.
Not that we see. Actually, the vaccine is what it went into their brains and made them act all crazy.
Oh, now it
That
makes
was more of
sense.
a that was an Alex Jones. That wasn't like the
Mhm.
vaccine went into their brains and made them crazy.
The fact that you've seen enough Alex Jones that you can do an impression of Alex Jones makes me sad for you, Garrett,
How do you miss Alex Jones? Plus,
by
this isn't.
being
I.
very intentional with my media consumption.
You're telling me that just through Instagram Reels, you haven't come across him yelling about their turning the frogs gay?
Okay, I did see the one about turning the frogs gay.
That's then we've seen the same amount of Alex Jones.
You're not wrong. All right,
Okay,
all right.
get us.
The answer is I feel very conflicted. But yes, I would probably ruin my life for the Frenchman, and it would be ruined, and I don't like it. I don't like that I said yes, but it's I did. I'm saying yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Richard
I
Gere. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Stop turning your shirt inside out, and maybe this wouldn't have happened. You're Richard Gere.
I would have said no to Diane Lane in the opening scene where the kid's pissing on the toilet and he's farting
Mm,
and stuff. But by the time she's wearing those mom jeans and that white shirt and that chair, I was
mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, yeah, the
100%.
wind. We're
The
here." Yeah.
wind.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. This was a fun one. I liked this movie. I like when we get to watch a good movie
Same.
with you guys. As always, eroticthrillerclub@gmail.com. Questions, comments, concerns, recommendations, anything. And then at Erotic Thriller Club on Instagram.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, whatever it is on your podcatcher of choice. And we'd love to hear from you. So let us know what your ratings are. And most importantly, are you craving McDonald's right
Oh, ba-da-da-da-da. It's Shamrock Shake season, baby. We just had St. Patrick's Day. Let's go get one, get some nuggies, and
now?
just really think about our lives. Hey,
Okay.
everybody. Thanks for listening. We love you. Get fucked and ride the shame train. Have a smoke and some McD's. Wet your snails. We want to shake you naked and eat you alive.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.